Good morning, everybody. As usual, I would like to give a little summary of the three readings. In the first reading, we heard about the virtues of a good wife. No one is talking about good wives anymore. They're all talking about the transgender na nagko-compete sa Miss Universe. At yan ang pinag-uusapan sa social media, pinag-aawayan ng marami. No one talks about good wives anymore. But today, the good news has to do with the virtues of a good wife, the virtues that are called a value beyond pearls. Okay, I'll go back to that later. In the second reading in Paul's letter to the Thessalonians, St. Paul tells us another good news. He says, "You are not in the dark. You are children of the light, children of the day." I'm reminded of those who fight using tunnels 100 meters below ground. They are literally children of the dark. That was the case in Vietnam War many years ago. The Americans, who are linear thinkers, didn't know how to fight a guerrilla warfare. It's very difficult to fight a war where your enemies are farmers during the day, but soldiers during the night. And you don't know. And even those who build the infrastructure for the army of Vietnam at the time, they were young people, 15, 16 years old, including girls who were making the road network from North Vietnam, passing through Cambodia, all the way up to Saigon, all the way up to the Mekong River Delta. You are children of the light, you are children of the day, not living in the dark. In the third reading, we are given a story that is, I summarize it as 5-2-1. 3 people receiving 5 talents, the other receiving 2, and the last receiving only 1. 2 were forgettable because the 2 did exactly as you would do. When you are given a capital, you would try to increase it. You'll open a sari-sari store. You'll open during the pandemic, so many open food delivery services. And now they're struggling because no one buys from them anymore because they're all in SM and Vista Mall. They don't buy anymore from delivery services. 5-2-1. 3 people. 2 were more than just enterprising and responsible and smart. But 1, this is the person we would like to focus on today, because that 1 person could be you and me. 1 was suspicious. He was calculating, he was exact, and he was blaming. He lived life in a carefully measured manner. No more, no less. You give me 1, I give you back 1. You are a hard man. I give you no more, no less. Di ba isa lang ang binigay mo, ayan, magsawa ka sa isa mo. No more, no less. What is our take home for today? These are difficult stories because the truth of the matter is that it becomes difficult when we talk about that 1, because the 1 who received 5 and 2 are forgettable. They do exactly what everybody would do. But all of us have the tendency to become that 1 who received 1. But the Word of God is good news here and now. If we are disturbed by what we hear in the Gospel and in the first 2 readings, then the Word must be alive. The Word must be valid for all times and seasons, even here, even now. But it can be valid and alive, but not meaningful. It can only be meaningful and salvific if we find parallels in our own personal and communal lives, here and now. So, what parallels will I draw from this? Number 1, the 5-2-1 story can be our own. The first 2, no matter how admirable, are really forgettable because they would do exactly what is expected of them. But the 3rd strikes us. The 3rd disturbs me. The 3rd convicts me. He makes us either approving or angry. And if we are cheats, then we would approve of that 1. Bakit? Bakit ko payayamanin yung aking boss? Diba? Yan ang tumatakbo ng usapan natin, binigyan mo ko ng isa, o yan yung isa mo. Tinago ko, walang labis, walang kulang. Or you could be angry. We could be angry because in our businessman's nature, we would like things to grow, to develop. We would like to become a better person. We would like to be richer. If you have a car, you want a second one, even if you have only one garage. So you park it in the streets and then close the street, courtesy of the Homeowners Association, so that you can park your car 24/7. Number 2, parallel. The first two represent our usual and natural tendencies to make things grow, to expand, to produce. You begin with a sari-sari store and then you graduate to having a Uncle John or how do they call it? Yung sa kapitbahay natin. Or Alpha Mart or 7-Eleven. And then the third parallel. The third one is despicable. The third one is hateful. We don't want to be accepted, but we are that man, or we could be that man. He lived in the shadows, in the trenches, in the tunnels, pretending to be nurses, pretending to be orderlies in hospitals, and meeting with their commanders under the tunnels, inside the tunnels, under hospitals. They are despicable. When we live in the dark, we are despicable because we live in the shadows. Gabriel Marcel, long time ago, said that to be a person means you need to be involved. You need to be engaged. To be fully a human person, you need to be an involved self, not an abstracted self. And being engaged means meron kang konting malasakit, meron kang pagmamalasakit, meron kang pagkalinga, ikaw ay isang katiwala. Hindi pwedeng isa tinanggap ko, ayan ang isa mo, walang labis, walang kulang. You're not engaged. You're not involved. You're not responsible. You're not accountable kung ano ang tinanggap mo. So, para sa akin, meron tayong mga take-home questions. Take-home question for me too. At ano yan? Tayo dun sa 521. Tayo ba yung tumanggap ng 5 na nag-entrega ng 5? Tayo ba ang pinagbigyan ng 2 na nagsulit ng 2 pa na dagdag? O tayo ba yung binigyan ng 1 at nagalit pa at nagbintang pa? At sinabi mo, ayan na ang 1 mo, magsawa ka sa 1 mo. Wapakils ba tayo? May malasakit ba tayo? Do you live above board or in the trenches or in the tunnels underneath Gaza or the Gaza wherever you are? What is the lesson that soars above all this? Bad news? What is the good news? Kung tayo ay may malasakit, kung tayo ay may pagpapahalaga sa anumang kaloob na ibinigay sa atin, then there will be values that you need to live by. The values of the good wife, the value beyond pearls that the book of Proverbs in the first reading was talking about. If we are aligning ourselves with the first 2 and gave back 5 and gave back 2, then the question is whether we live in the dark or live in the light. And so if we choose to live in the light, then there are certain suggestions that we might think of. Number 1, we need persistence. Kailangan natin ang pupupunyagi, sa Espanyol, pagpupursigi, persige, perseguir, to pursue, to be persistent. We need ingenuity. We need to use our intelligence to produce more than what was given us. We need creativity. We need our problem-solving skills. But we also need to take risks. Hindi pwedeng itatago at ibabaon yung tanging talento na ipinagkaloob sa atin at tapos ay isusulit natin na may halo pang pagbibintang at pagkagalit. Engaged. If you are an involved self, then you are engaged in doing the good thing, in dreaming for a better country, a better barangay, a better city, a better region, a better citizenship in this world, our planet that is our only home. Okay, I end my homily now. A little advertisement. The one that the priest celebrating with me was my student some 5 or 6 years ago. He's now belonging to the Diocese of Maasin, Father Bonnie Lobaton, and 9 others are here together with us from the Diocese of Maasin attending this Mass. So if you have some amount to spare, you might want to give Father Bonnie something. He is in charge of a mission chapel up in the Bukid Sasin City, Barangay San Rafael. And he is in charge of a mission territory up there in the boonies of Maasin. So if you have some amount to spare, you might want to give him. Incidentally, Maasin has been the object of my work over the past 3 or 4 years. We have just finished St. John Bosco Chapel up on a hill in Combado in Maasin City that set us back by 4.2 million. It's almost all done. They are in charge of the finishing. I'm done with the basic structure. After Typhoon Agaton, there were 3 landslides in 3 different places. We managed to send to help the landslide victims upwards of 407,000 pesos. And for the typhoon that battered all of Visayas and parts of Mindanao 2 years ago, we were able to send 2.5 million pesos, courtesy under the auspices of Pusong Katoliko.